Yeah, my name's Alec. I founded Raplight Media 4 years ago, which is my company, but I also have a company called Patient Koala. Um, and just when I had graduated college, I was already kind of doing marketing, but I had no real, I had done everything kind of locally and based off referrals. But then once the referrals dried up, I was looking for other ways to generate business and I had no idea what I was doing. So I remember cold calling people and just getting chewed out because I was like an amateur basically. I had no idea what I was doing. But then I'm pretty sure I had seen Justin, he had just gone to the 10X conference and I was like, wow, like that's what I want. That's what I want to do. Because I was still a senior in college. And I remember seeing that and being like, yep, I want to be able to travel and like do what I want and be in charge of myself and not have to like answer to like a 9 to 5. I want to be able to travel and move around. And then I bought, I think it was like prospecting like a pro. That was the course. And so I went through that and I actually closed the deal from that. And then we kept in touch. And then when Justin started coaching, I was actually in Europe because I just quit my job engineering and I went to Europe. And then while in Europe, started the coaching program, started doing that, came back from Europe, and I was like, all right, I'm done with engineering. Like, I'm not going to go back. And there was actually a point where the business, I only had maybe one client, and I was sleeping literally. I mean, it's like a very prototypical entrepreneur story, but I was sleeping on an air mattress in my friend's living room, paying $200 a month in rent so that I could spend $1,000 on virtual assistants for the business. And I had my old engineering job come up and everybody was like, hey, you're going to take it? They want you back. The people on the ship, they were calling me saying like, hey, like we'd love to have you back, blah, blah, blah. And I remember being there and everybody's putting pressure on me. And I was like, no, I'm not. Like, I'm not going to take it. And then that was it. Like after that, I was like, because that was basically like the last rope of the ship, leaving shore and being like, all right, I'm not going back. And then I started getting a little bit more consistent. And then I worked with Blake a little bit as an account manager. And then I had kind of gone through like 3 or 4 different programs, but then this last August, I started another program. And basically that's completely taken off now. Now we have like a 10-person team, account manager, sales, like prospecting team, calling team, everything. So now
Yeah.
so
I think
now
I
we're in
kind
a
of
good spot.
remember I think I kind of remember you telling me at the time when the ship was taking off, you're like, dude, I'm all in. Like I have to make this work. And I think for a lot of people, that's really what it comes down to, is just like having no plan B. And I think like that, when we had that conversation, you're like, I have to make this work. I have to go all in. Like, let's do this. And that's exactly where we are. Because I mean, fast forward now, I mean, if you don't mind telling, like, how much are you roughly bringing in per month with your business right now?
So we're actually in the process of acquiring or absorbing another company. And so we were at 23, we're going to be at 31 clients, and our total revenue per month will be, after that acquisition, probably 55,000 a month. That's
Nice.
probably what we'll be at after that. We were
That's
about 40,000 last month, and we're going to be adding about 15,000 after that.
Yeah, that's impressive, man. Congrats. And I
Yeah.
always like to, when I get on these, like, kind of ask, like, we've been working together for a while now. What has kind of like been, if you could give maybe like two main takeaways of like what you've learned from like working with me and my companies that you've implemented, and like shed some light on some other people, like what were those two main things that you think would be like the most beneficial for your success to where you're at now?
Um, well, I don't think everybody needs to quit their job necessarily to start it. Um, but I do think that like having a legitimate commitment to what you're doing and not just because there's a lot of people that see. So I would say first thing is like when you commit to something, like you commit to it like your life depends on it. You don't have to quit your job like me necessarily, but you have to take it seriously. Like you can't just be like going into it because I've seen a bunch of different people come in and out that are like, they're interested in it, but then 2 or 3 months in, it gets a little bit hard or whatever. They had a little bit of success, like beginner's luck, and then now they have like to, like boss up essentially. Like you have to get gritty. And like when bad things happen, like you have to have the commitment in the back of your mind that like you have to be expecting it. So I would say for me, the one thing that I've seen differentiate between people that have been able to kind of push through that, because I had a lot of ups and downs. I went like from 0 to 4,000 a month to 1,000 a month to 7,000 a month to 1,000 a month to 13,000 a month to 2,000 a month, now up to 55,000 a month. But that's sustained success because I've been increasing every month for the past 9 months. So it's not like it's not going down anymore. But I've seen a lot of people, you have like a little bit of a dip and then they give up. So that's one thing, but I definitely would say the other thing is like having systems and delegating. Like my business does not rely on me as much as it did a year ago. So like I'm still very active. I'm like managing teams and training people. I'm trying to grow, but that's what my focus is on growth. I don't have clients. Like this was actually the last thing that happened yesterday. I had a client who I knew was probably going to cancel the moment that I removed myself from their account completely. And they're the last account because I hired an account manager 2 months ago. They're the last account that I was still on. And I basically made excuses and stuff like that why I wasn't there for a few weeks. And then they put their 1 month notice in yesterday, but we've gained, well, I guess like 12 clients in the last month. So like it is what it is, but I need to remove myself from that role in order to grow. But I'd say probably like committing to it, like not like a half-ass commitment. Like I'm going to try this out for 1 or 2 months and see if it sticks. Like for me, I knew that like I always had this thing in the back of my head that like one day I'm going to be dying, and that could be a year from now, that could be 20 years from now, that could be 6 years from now. But if I'm dying and I have to look myself in the face and decide like, did I do what I wanted to do, or did I let other people's opinions affect what I was doing, right? And when you're starting a business and you're starting off you're doing things for yourself, and maybe somebody else convinced them that they couldn't, you're going to get a lot of negativity. And if you don't have a serious commitment to yourself or to your future, then you're going to give up. And you don't need to, though. It's like you just have to expect that sometimes not every like it's going to get hard at points. It's part of it.
Yeah, I think that's the biggest thing that I've realized in this space as well. I'm glad that you pinpointed that out, is like a lot of people just, and it's not their fault. It's just like how the media portrays things, is like they portray overnight success and like really fast results. And it's like the name of the game is like you're building a legit business model. And like even those, I know like Amazon stores, Shopify automation, all that stuff is like really hot in the market right now. And it's like most people are charging like $20,000 to $60,000 to invest in a business like that. But what they don't tell you is it takes a full year to make your money back. And then you start making some money if you're lucky enough. And I myself have definitely invested in a couple of those that haven't worked out, but like, that's the beauty of, I think, like betting on yourself, and like what you did is like believing the long-term vision that you just have to get this down. And once you're right, you see exponential growth, kind of like with what you're seeing right now. And like every time I talk to you, man, we were just joking about this before, is like, you're in a different environment every single time I'm talking to you. How many countries have you been to since you've started this? Because like, you're the definition of a digital nomad at this point.
Yeah, for sure. I think so when I did prospecting like a pro, and then I added a virtual assistant a few months later, I was actually still working on a ship when I did that. So then since then, probably maybe 15 countries, I guess. Since then, in the past couple of years, probably like 8, maybe.
Nice.
Because that period had a lot of traveling.
Do you think your business would be able to run like that without having the right systems in play?
No, definitely not. Yeah, for sure. No. I mean, that's what I said is the second part, is like having systems and like being able to delegate, because that's the difference between having a business and being like a solo entrepreneur.
Yeah.
If everything relies, if you have to be involved in all of the client accounts, if you have like, I have different teams for different things. and then I have people in charge of those teams. So, and I mostly talk to the people in charge of those teams and then try to figure out like where we're going. So I have like, yeah, there might be 11 or 12 people total, but without those systems, no. I mean, if I didn't show up at all today, the business would still run. Literally nothing would happen. Like nothing bad would happen. I just wouldn't be around to maybe answer some questions. And if I came around tomorrow, then I would get the questions answered. But like the account onboarding, the only thing that I'm in the process of delegating is the actual ads, but I'm good at it and I like it. So it's the only thing that's really solely relying on me right now.
Yeah. Yeah. That's facts, man. That's facts. And I appreciate you hopping on here, man. To kind of wrap things up with this, because I like to keep things short, and I would be kind of curious for your results. I mean, we've been working together for a while. You've been fucking crushing it. Proud of you, man. What would you say to someone that's on the fence about joining the Authority Income Accelerator program or anything that we offer here in the future? What would you say to somebody that's kind of considering it?
Well, I mean, I would say I would probably just ask them like, what do you want to be thinking about when you're dying? You know, that's literally what I would think about, because if, you know, I'm not even sure what the price point will be in the future or whatever, but if the amount, say X amount of money to join the program, you know, for example, now we're on pace to do over $500,000 this year, and we're accelerating. So we'll probably be a 7-figure agency by the end of the year. That's the goal. So when I'm thinking back on my life and I'm dying, you know, like, and all my dreams are there with me, either the dreams that I'm going to take with me or the dreams that I left on the table, you know, is this something that you're willing to give up? Are you willing to give up on this and potentially have to deal with it later on when you're dying and to potentially regret it? So if that is, then, you know, good for you. But if you have dreams about what you want your life to be like, you know, don't sell yourself short, because at some point in time, it's going to catch up to you.
I like that. I like that. I think it's just kind of like, you know, focusing on the long-term vision of where you need to be. And I've always been a big component of that myself, is like, if you want something and somebody has what you want, like, you shouldn't have a price on it as long as you're getting down the road, like what you said, a return on your investment or something. I think that's really how everything makes sense when it comes to play. So I agree, my man. And for anyone else that's watching this, what's one last piece of advice that you could give somebody?
For what exactly? Piece of advice for?
Just, I mean, if you said to say if there was someone coming up to you and they're like, hey man, I want to be like you, what would that advice be? It could be life, it could be business, it could be anything, just something that you're thinking about.
Honestly, one of the best pieces that really, what I think it was like almost like a light switch for me, is when I read The Slight Edge. And that's actually, I read it right when I got back from Europe, and talking about like, don't make the goal in my mind, like make the goal like showing up every day and doing the things that you know you need to do to reach the goal. And, you know, everything that I do today, I'm going to see the results of in 2 to 3 months. So that's what I'm really focused on, is like, yeah, if I want to get to, let's say 50 or 60 clients, like, what do I need to do today that's going to put me in a better position in 2 to 3 months? But I don't need to wake up today. I think this is what a lot of people have an issue wrapping their minds around, is like, I go out and I send 200 DMs and I do 100 cold calls today and I don't close a deal, and I'm like defeated. You know, it's like, that's not how it works. Like, do that every day for 2 or 3 months, and then look back and look at it. But if you're going to do something and you want to be successful, it's the same thing with fitness or with business or finances and stuff like that. Like, you can't be looking on it specifically the day you're at. Like, you're going to need to work hard for 2 or 3 months and then see.
And it's money. Consistency is key, guys. I think that's the biggest takeaway. So thanks for hopping on here, brother.